Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite primary hybrids, and this one is Phalaenopsis Philadelphia. It's a cross between the ever so famous Schilleriana and Stuartiana. The reason I say this is one of my favorite because it's actually just, harder to find at regular stores. You really do have to go through specialty orchid nurseries. But anyway, let's go back in time and see how this one did. So back in September 2019, it was toward the end of the summer in my environment, and it was just still working on its new leaf. For most of my orchids, summertime is the time that they would put out most of their vegetative growth. However, this one continued to grow its leaf vigorously into, I think December last year. So it was quite interesting to see how it just kept growing its newest leaf while developing its spike toward the end of December 2019. And end of January 2020, I decided that I want to stake this orchids. So I put a stick behind it so that the flower spike would then grow upward versus grow toward light source and have that pendant look. Historically, I've always enjoyed watching orchid grow however they want so that they display the orchid flowers the natural way. But this time around, I decided that I wanted to do something different, and this is what I did. This orchid this year only produced 3 buds, and it wasn't until beginning of April 2019 that it started to open its first bud. And just like the other same type orchid in my collection, but that one is a much older plant. It has already flowered 3 other times. This is its first blooming, and just like the other one, the first flower also had this really weird stick together sepal and petal situation, which you'll probably be able to see in the video right here. So essentially, it doesn't have petals, or the petals are kind of merged together with its top sepal. So it looks a bit weird. And thankfully, it was just the first flower. The second flower and the third one all had regular flower shape as expected. And the other orchid also had that problem. And in fact, the other orchid, I think the first blooming, all its flower, I think it was 3 or 4 flowers, all had the same issue. So I was thinking, gosh, maybe I just got a genetically defected orchid for that one other one. But then its second and third flowering were completely fine. So this one, it gave me normal flowers during its first flowering, even though the first flower really looked a bit deformed, alien-like almost. The care I give this orchid is well, first of all, I grow this orchid in a inorganic setup, and it's inorganic plus semi-hydro, and it's working pretty okay, although just judging by the size of the plant, I might have overpotted this orchid just a tad. So I mean, later on in the video, you should be able to see that as I was turning the cup, it just doesn't have that much root system in the cup. And so I think I need to put it in a smaller container so that it would, have that more pop root bound, pot bound kind of feel to it, and to be able to grow better. Because when orchids are over potted, they tend to grow slower. So I think I may make that change this time. And I usually give, about quarter strength, 25% strength fertilizer, and I give this orchid fertilizer every week. And then toward the end of the month, I would definitely soak this orchid in just pure water with nothing in it to, I guess, flush, give it a proper flush to remove excess salt buildup or just anything that's inside the cup that I don't want. This orchid is relatively low maintenance, but I just think that this cup is probably too big for it because after a couple years, it still hasn't grown its roots into, the reservoir area. So I'm thinking this orchid is just, needing a smaller container to be able to thrive better. And then I think another characteristic, I guess, lack of characteristic is this orchid is not fragrant. Schilleriana has a little bit of fragrance, rather faint. Sturtiana, to me anyway, does not smell anything. And here is just a video footage, a bonus one, to give you a side-by-side comparison of the two Phalaenopsis Philadelphia in my collection. So like I told you, I have two. The one on the right is the one we're talking about today, and then the one on the left is a older plant. Even though I got them at the same time, they came to me in different sizes. So the one on the right was a near mature plant, but it took it, gosh, 2-3 years to bloom. And then the other one, the one on the left, had already had 3 bloomings. And you can tell too, the size of the plants are different, and then even the flower, if I put them side by side, you can tell the one on the left, the flowers on the left are much bigger. I'm hoping that as time progresses, the orchid on the right, the smaller one, will continue to thrive and get bigger, and maybe next year we would have a better display, better show, but then also bigger flower and more flower count. I mean, I have high hope for this one. Um, Overall, I think they are pretty low maintenance orchid, but I think with the one on the right, I just haven't struck that good balance. And I think I really do have to make some adjustments to the container so that it may do better. For some reason though, I don't see this cross being offered too often. I had to order this through a very special online nursery, a specialty online nursery from Taiwan to be able to get this cross. Normally, I haven't really seen this one being offered. Probably because it was a classic, and a lot of hybridizer made this cross, and then it was popular at some time, and now it's no longer the case. I don't know. And here is just another footage. I don't know if I shared this footage in the other video when I was talking about the bigger Philadelphia. But this is my first time ever in my orchid growing hobby history that I was able to put all 3 of them, Schilleriana, Strutiana, and Philadelphia, essentially the whole family on video the same time, because Schilleriana has always been blooming first and would go out first. And historically, I had only been able to show Schilleriana with pictures when I'm trying to compare and contrast between the parents and Philadelphia. But this year, hey, I had just a few days of overlap, so I took the opportunity to put them side by side and took a video to document that, hey, this time around, the parents and the child, they are all in the same frame. Life. Even though they don't have fragrance, I still like them quite a bit for their foliage, but I just wish that they would produce more leaves. But I think that's just their tendency to have 3 to 4 leaves max. Do yours have more leaves?
This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!